everyone, welcome to another episode of Spill the Tea with Tommy D. So this week, we're actually going to kind of circle back to the first episode I ever did. If you saw it, I did an Earl Grey. I did like a Turkish Earl Grey. We are going to do a variation of an Earl Grey. I've seen it referred to as Earl Grey Creme, or in this sense, this is from our friends at Tealyra, and it's referred to, it says, Cream Earl Grey Moonlight. Earl Grey tea is a black tea, tends to be a blend, as in it's not from a single origin like China or India. It tends to be a blend, so it'll be a little bit of tea leaves from black tea from China, a little bit from India, so different variations of it. And then what makes this one separate, so all Earl Grey has, what makes an Earl Grey is that bergamot oil, and bergamot is like that weird kind of, it's like orange, lime, lemon kind of fruit blend. It's like a bitter blend. So traditional Earl Grey has the bergamot oil on the tea leaves to give it that citrusness, citrus flavor. So with this one, they actually add, I've seen it done with marigold and vanilla. This one actually has corn flour and vanilla. So again, it's like a blend of black tea, corn flour, and vanilla. I believe that is, oh yeah, that's it, baby. All right, oil of bergamot, black tea, vanilla, corn flour. So the instructions say 1 to 1.5 teaspoons, per 8 ounces. I'm gonna do 3 teaspoons, and it says 2.5 to 3 minutes. I'm gonna do 2.5 because I'm using the 1.5 teaspoons per 8 ounces. And you know me, I like to get that second steep. Let's take a look at this. So I can see the corn flour. I had to look up what corn flour was. I didn't know what it was. It's like this blue flour. So I can see the corn flour petals. I obviously can see the black tea leaves, kind of smaller, twisted. I smell a lot of the vanilla. So vanilla smells delicious, very creamy. And underneath that, I can smell that kind of oaky maltiness from the black tea with just a little bit actually of the bergamot. The vanilla really cuts that bergamot a little bit. If you're not too crazy about that citrusy taste, this one really kind of balances it out really nicely. So we got our 3 teaspoons of our tea. We're going to put that in our strainer. Black tea, this is going to be boiling water, so we don't have to worry about those ice cubes. And this is going to be 2.5 minutes. So let's pour that stuff in there. It's piping hot. Alrighty, cool. So a while back, the president had to go take a picture at this church, and they had to disperse some of these protesters for him to do that. Recently, a whistleblower came out and said that they almost used heat rays and sound cannons, their words, not mine, to disperse the protesters. We have those. That's a thing that we just use. This is news to me. And look at these things. Like look at them. It's like a giant armored vehicle with a big plate on it that is a heat ray. So I kind of looked it up, and what it does is it basically works like a microwave, except the waves are like smaller, so they don't, I don't know, it's like mathy stuff. Essentially, it only penetrates just the top of your skin and creates this intense heating sensation. So basically, it's a microwave. We've all had Hot Pockets before. We know how this works. We know what it's like to have that lava on the outside and still frozen on the inside. It still hurts. That's brutal. And where in the Pentagon do they have some mad scientist kept away coming up with this stuff? Because sound cannons, were they I don't know, when they were testing these, were they just blowing up people's heads like scanners? This is like some heavy stuff. Falling into the wrong hands with this is kind of like, I feel like that's just like a Dr. Evil situation ready to happen. Or Dr. Doom. I don't know. It's insane. And one of the officials said that he was like, no, it was just a routine inventory check to make sure they had the equipment. So you just happen, I got my, not to be all Alex Jones on here, but I got my tinfoil hat on this one. You just like, oh, we have protesters. Let's just call up to inventory check. Like when you leave the house and you're just like, oh yeah, I got my phone, wallet, keys, mask, and my heatray. Cool, just making sure before I head out. And I actually kind of, if they sold these, I would actually want one on like a lower setting for the winter time, because I hate the cold, and just being able to kind of heat my house only, so that way I'd have summer year round, I think that'd be pretty awesome. But in the meantime, that's pretty brutal. They were literally contemplating cooking some freaking protesters. Peaceful protesters, too. Alright, so we got our... I spilled a lot of tea today. It was a heated day. So we have our tea leaves. This is really hot, so I'm going to let that just cool for a hot second. So, it's actually really interesting. I don't see any of that corn flour now. The blue is hidden. I don't know when. That's pretty interesting. I wonder if, like, after it roasts, after it steeps, the blue just comes out of it. Because I pretty much see just opened up black tea leaves. And now, so yeah, I'm guessing that vanilla and it smells like a brewed cup of Earl Grey, just the plain tea leaves. I smell much more of that citrusiness and the bitterness from the bergamot oil. Alright, this again is going to be pretty hot. So, color, very, very nice reddish to it. A little bit more almost red than brown. It's like a dark peach almost. That's very, very nice color. Alright, so smelling it, really not too much bergamot, more vanilla. The corn flour, I think, adds just a little bit of smoothness and floralness to it. And then I get that a little slight darkness, that boldness from the black tea. Kind of like I'd say a slightly malty, not too heavy malty. Gotta get an Assam tea. That's where the malt comes in. There might be a little Assam in this, though. It's a blend. So, tasting it, I do taste the bergamot now. The blend of the bergamot and the vanilla. And the black tea is very, very smooth. So, the bitterness comes from that citrusy oil. Yeah, it's very nice. It's really well blended. I love the Earl Grey with the vanilla in it, whether it's Earl Grey Creme or Cream Earl Grey. There's a bunch of different companies. They call it different things. They might have some marigold. They might have some corn flour in it. But it is a very, very delicious cup of tea. And if you're into something, if you like a plain black tea but want to try like a slight variation, definitely a creamy Earl Grey is a really nice change of pace, and the vanilla will break up that heavy citrusy taste from the bergamot oil. Until next episode, keep an eye out on the government. There's some doomsday stuff going on. They got supervillains in the works. I don't know, but we will see you on the next episode, friends.